Well, I would like to welcome everyone that's listening to our very first MPowered Podcast with Michael and Marilyn. My name is Michael, and I'm joined today with a really good friend of mine, Marilyn Egan. My name is Michael Abney, and this is Marilyn Egan. Marilyn, tell me a little bit about how you're feeling today, starting this first podcast together.
I am so excited to be here, even though I really don't know exactly how it's going to look, exactly what it's going to be. I know that we are ready to share what we have learned, and I'm just excited.
Mm-hmm.
So glad we're here.
Me too. And it's like, even though I'm not nervous, I'm actually just really excited. This has been something that's coming for a long time, and I'm excited to dive into it. So today what we're going to be talking about is a little bit about our podcast, what it's about, why we're doing it, and just kind of open the floor. And then we'll start with Marilyn and I are going to start to share a little bit about our stories and how we met, and it's kind of like crazy how it happened.
Yes.
And Marilyn and I share the same birthday. So even though we're recording this today, this will air on our birthdays on 9/28 of this year. So I'm really excited about that.
Yes, I am too. There's not a lot of people who share this birthday with me, so it's exciting.
When did I find out that we did have this? Was it while we were buying the Peace Place?
Yes.
Somewhere in that process?
Yes. So I found, I'd been looking for a place to have my business so that I could have an energy community. I had room where people could come together and talk about things that they weren't comfortable talking about anywhere else. And I found this place. I was guided to it in a very funny way, which I'll talk about more later, and took a look at it and knew that I had to make this place my business home, my energy home. And the very next day I ran into Michael. I hadn't seen him for 6 months. And he's also a realtor. And he says, "Would you like help with this?" And I was so grateful. So when we went to the Peace Place and looked, it's got a fabulous backyard, fabulous energy. And we were in the back, feeling the energy that was there, knowing that this place was coming to fruition. We were actually going to bring this energy out to share with everyone. And I don't know why we brought it up. Oh, we were going to close. We were going to set the closing date for our on my birthday.
Yes.
He says, "That's my birthday." So
that is exactly how we...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't really quite for sure, but I'm so glad you brought that up because that's exactly how it happened. Even though it didn't close on your birthday, it closed a little bit after that.
Yes.
It still closed in the perfect timing. So
it did.
Tell people about what you did before you opened the Peace Place. Like, I know we're going to talk about our journeys a little bit later on, but just real briefly, just a little bit of context about what the Peace Place is, and then I'll share a little bit about that too, like my experience with it. Go ahead.
Yes. So later we'll talk about how I got started working in energy work, but I had been doing myofascial work, synergia, lots of energy work for several years, and I had been looking for a place that really felt like community and had a classroom that I could do this work in, but also share in the classroom. So it took a while to find it, and I had actually been doing this work for almost 20 years now, actually more than 20 years now. So I found the Peace Place almost 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. And it took a lot of work. It really had some energy that needed to be cleared and revamped and actually recreated this space, which I needed to do too. I needed to create it for me and my growth as well. And when we found the space, I knew that I would be working with one-on-one sessions there. And I also knew that I would be holding groups there.
Yeah.
And when we walked in one day, Michael looks at me and says, "We're going to be doing Abraham classes here."
Yeah.
And we knew that was going to happen, but we didn't know when. We didn't know what it would look like either. And it was fabulous. So I'll let you tell us a little bit about that.
So just and two, this is what our whole show is going to be about. I know that you've said energy work, and I know there's people out there that probably don't get what that means, or a lot of times that you'll hear Marilyn and I talking, and we're going to talk, and you don't understand what we're saying. But that's the whole point of our show, is that we want to bring what we know and use and practice in our lives daily that makes enormous impact. Like you said, I do real estate. I would not be able to do real estate unless I had a morning practice where I was meditating. I couldn't handle it. There's so much information coming, but like my spiritual practice, my understanding of the energy side of the world, is what allows me to be in it without, being violent with people. Because there's sometimes that I just, that's the only way that I could, just go to that observer mode. So that's what our whole show is about. We're going to be talking about conscious lifestyles and how to bring that into out of the woo-woo into like everyday life. And that's I used to coach people before I did real estate. And part of the reason that I got out of it was because I literally was saying the same thing over and over to each other. It was different situations, whether I was working an individual or a couple. I found myself just saying the same things over again. Like people operate in the world as if it's happening to them.
Yes.
And our coaching, anybody that knows anything about it, is showing people how it's actually, life is happening through us.
Yes.
And there's just a misperception about how that it shows up. And anytime, even when I was coaching, I live by this, anywhere in my life that I have a loss of power, I literally know that I have something in my life, a belief that is not true anymore. So for me, it might have been true at some point in my life, but at this current point, I'm having a loss of power. It's like what I thought was true is no longer true for me. And I need to look at this area that I'm having a loss of power in and look at it a different way. Like when you change the way, is it Dwayne Dyer or
Wayne Dyer?
Thank
you. Yeah.
In my mind, I have that Dwayne, but it's Wayne.
Yes.
Wayne Dyer. When you change the way you look at something, that's something that you're looking at changes.
Exactly.
And that has resonated with me from the first time that I heard it, that it's ingrained in my DNA. Like I look at everything like that. If I don't like something, I know that I have the ability to change it. And I do, and I've proven it time and time and time again in my life. And when you understand how that works, or I don't understand all of it. I don't have all the answers. I know you don't either. And that's not really what this is about. It's just about asking questions and having that question open up to the solution. The solution to things, the solution to our problems are never, ever, ever, ever going to be at the same level of consciousness in which they were created. So looking for them in the same space as they were created and not understanding that they're there to raise your level of consciousness and how to work with the problem to create the solution. Like it's one and the same. And that's,
yes.
When I was doing that, I was like, oh God, I'm just talking to people the same thing over and over again. And that's when we decided to do the Abraham classes, because again, somebody might not know Abraham, but Abraham Hicks, just Google it, it's everywhere. They were a teacher that I connected with 96 I think was the first time that I ever listened to them. They used to have these like CDs and tapes that you would
yes, I had
tapes.
I have many
myself.
of them.
Yes, I had this series that was delivered to my house, and over time, many years, it was probably a good 10 to 15 years before that really gelled, and I was like had enough competence to start operating my life from those principles, and in turn, getting close to that vibration of Abraham. I don't channel like they do with Esther, but what I can do is I hear them. And it's just kind of like a oneness or a unity with that energy. So I'm able to help people and guide people via those principles. So we started a class I forgot, like a year and a half ago.
Yes, March of
17.
17. Mm-hmm.
We went for a year. We did it in the Peace Place.
Yes.
It was incredible. We got to meet tons of really cool people, and it was we just allowed it to be, and who came, and we had no agenda. we would always start out with a little meditation where we just get quiet for 3 minutes and
33
seconds. Now we'll talk more about those numbers later, but that turned out to be a really powerful thing for myself. And
me too.
What was your experience of that?
I loved every minute of that, because even though it felt like you were coaching them in the same way, everyone saw it differently every time. And when you worked on one person's issue, everybody in the room perceived it in a way that was supportive to them, and they left feeling better about something going on in their life. Mm-hmm. And that's what was so powerful about it, is that everyone who attended, even if they weren't the focus of the session, benefited from what came up and what came through. And yes, it's exactly why I started the Peace Place, is because I had clients come to me then who wanted more of this energy. They wanted to know more, but they didn't have anybody else to talk to about it. Yeah. And I thought, I need to get these people together so that they can bond with each other, communicate with each other, and share, because everyone has the ability to tap into this universal energy we're talking about, but not everyone realizes that they can. So it's just a part of everybody's realizing they have a gift, and that they can hear, and that they can live their life in a more full and conscious way.
Empowered way.
Empowered, yes.
And we spelled it M, like the letter M, because Michael and Marilyn.
Yes.
Powered. And that came to me about 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm like, why the hell is this symbol showing up for me? In a meditation, I just kind of saw it. Mm-hmm. And when we started talking about the name and then the M's, and it just kind of hit, and I was like, oh, that's what this is. Because trust me, I wish everybody in the world knew this. Like, if we were conscious,
right,
like all of us,
the entire world,
yeah, like
yes,
we wouldn't hurt each other.
Right.
We wouldn't talk bad about each other. We wouldn't
judge.
There'd be no competition.
Right. No judging.
Like
no.
all the shit that we deal with in
yes.
the world, like about 99.99% of it is because we're unconscious.
Yes.
Yeah, just
exactly.
unconscious.
And I believe so many people want to be, but they don't know how. They don't know what to connect with, what to do. And like you said, we don't have all the answers, but we have figured out that when we do have something come up in our life, that we know where to go to get an answer and how to move it out. And that truly the universe is always working in our favor. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people are surprised when we say that.
Yeah. Or they think it's a light switch.
Yes.
That just goes off. And I'm like, no, it's not like that.
No.
It happens quickly.
Yeah.
Once you practice it.
Yes.
And then, but yeah.
It's learning how to be a master of your own life.
Thank you.
And create what you want in your life. And it can be.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. So I hope that kind of explained why. I mean, we'll be talking about the why as we move forward. But I mean, that's some of it. Did you have anything else, that you wanted to say? I definitely want to say about the creating a community is super important. We did it with our classes. You're doing it with the Peace Place. I do it everywhere that I go. I want to create that community. And I think this is the next level of that is, if somebody has a question or, we don't, maybe hearing us talk about this raises a question that we've never even thought of before. And if that happens and you're listening to this, whatever, if you're hearing it on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or whatever, just leave us a comment. We're happy to answer that or be in the question with you.
Or be in it with you.
Absolutely. But just creating that space, safe space virtually that we can all just look at the world just a little bit differently.
Exactly. And that's what I'm noticing. There's a lot of people who are really fearful in the world right now. They look at what's going on and they don't understand it. They don't see the growth. And I'm like, we've got to let people know that the world is working in our favor, even though it doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
And that's a piece of why I'm so grateful that we have the opportunity to do this. And and share and allow people to share with us what they're feeling so that we
And
can
the
be supportive of each
and
other. And the results,
Yeah,
yes.
because I've had some incredible results in my life. I've witnessed other people having incredible
Yes.
results in their lives. And the let's talk a little bit about the format, like so what people can expect as they listen through. So we're planning on doing 4 podcasts a month, right?
Yes.
4 podcasts a month, and we're planning on airing these or putting these out on every Friday. And they're going to be on different subjects, different topics. Some will be interview style. I know one of the topics that we're doing today for one of our first ones in October is the subject of conscious children, like
Yes.
how they're, my niece when she was born, 3 or 4 years, like she knew what an iPad was before, like just put it in her hand and she knew how to operate it, and like they understand electronics so much differently than I did, and
Oh,
I'm sure
absolutely.
like everything is just more quickened, heightened. They don't have that learning curve.
Right. They feel free to just take energy in, take new information in, much more easily than we do. They feel more free.
Yeah.
So yes, we do have we have a couple of guests
Yeah.
coming
I'm really
on.
excited about.
Yes, one that works with teenagers, and another one that works with very young children. So
Yeah.
it's very exciting to observe that. I've got grandchildren too that I have observed these special qualities in, and we want to find a way to make sure that we keep those qualities in these children because they are the ones who are coming in to change things for all of us.
Isn't Stephanie our first?
Yes.
She's going to be talking. How old is she now?
She just turned 21.
She just turned 21, but like she's now wanting to
teach and work with teenagers and people in their 20s. She's already doing it to help them be who they want to be in the world and feel accepted, even though they may see energy in a different way. They may hear energy. They may know things. And she's just reassuring them that they're not crazy. This is real. And just helping them feel comfortable and know that they can use this as a strength in whatever they want to do in this world.
So, I mean, that's an example of something that we're excited about. That we're going to be doing a little bit later on today.
Yes.
It's going to come out in October. But again, there's really, when we were sitting talking about, at the very beginning, we're like, what are we going to talk about? Scarcity.
Yes.
And then, like, really, when you think about it, we do this every day, and especially you. Even though I'm in real estate, I still use these principles every single day of my life. It's how I communicate with my clients. It's how I connect with them. And we're going to be talking about, I've had health issues in the past that I've overcome and overcoming, and I've used awareness.
Yes.
I've used my gut, like all of my gut health stuff, and I'm excited that's something that I'm super passionate about. But like our food, our exercise, our lifestyle, like it's our life. You can't like have everything in chaos or in your life around you and expect anything great to come out of that or anything different to come out of that. Like you literally got to start changing something to get a different result.
Yes.
In life. It can't, it's like I said, it's not a light switch that's going to go off. You can't just listen to something and have it, you might make you feel good, and which is good.
Yes.
But there's other steps. There's like, we're physical for a reason.
Yes, exactly.
Otherwise we would have just stayed non-physical and been in angel world. We came here in this time right now to do something like spiritual and action at the same time. Like, nobody's talking about that.
Right, and it's time. That's what's going to change things.
Yes.
That's what's going to allow people to start caring about each other. They care about how they feel about themselves, then they're more capable of caring about how other people feel and the other things going on in the world. And I think that's happening. There are people who are being awakened to the fact that they care about this issue and they are speaking up. And It doesn't necessarily look like a positive to everyone, but that's how things start to change. And that's what we have to do is take care of ourselves.
Yes.
Then we
Self-care.
can start
Yes,
caring
yes.
about others. And right now, it is true. Our energies, it's hard to keep our energies, even these energies that people can't see around us, in balance when things and the chaos around us, when we feel it.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be aware of our own actions and our own thoughts and our own way of being in order to move that forward and to stay
How do you
in
feel about all the
balance.
chaos that's happening like right now that you like is it a negative thing for you, or is like how do you
I am perceiving it as this chaos has always been here, but it's been buried. I feel like
Okay.
it's been hidden. It's come up from time to time, but we have not seen it as the entire world is seeing it all right now. But
Yeah.
it's all coming up to the surface. And I think that's a good thing because we have to look at it, we have to see it. It has to be in front of us in order for it to get better and heal. Now, it looks kind of ugly at the moment,
Yeah.
but I think we have to get there before it can really heal. And I believe that we are a step closer to the healing than leaving it buried.
Yeah. You just made me think of something like driving here today. I don't live very far from here. It was about a 10-minute drive, but on the way over here, Obama was on the radio or talking. I guess that's the first time he's like talking about the upcoming midterms.
Okay.
And he's going to be campaigning and stuff. So, it was great to hear his voice again.
Right.
But one of the things that just kind of jumped out of the radio at me on the way over here was he said that Donald Trump was not the problem; he was a symptom.
Right.
And I was like, wow, I know that, but like hearing somebody say that's speaking to the nation.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw another piece out there. He could be a part of the solution because he's stirring everything up. He's actually stimulating people to care about these issues that are coming to the surface. He's showing us these issues that have been buried. So we don't know. That's just my perception, is that we are moving forward simply by the chaos being in front of us.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I had we'll wrap this little section up here in just a second. But I had somebody a quote that stuck with me in all the travels or seminars that I've done, and people like leave you with these little nuggets, right?
Yes.
So at one point, this thing that stuck with me was like the chaos is just the moment before order sets in.
Yes. And right.
Yeah. So
that's why I say I threw that piece out there. I don't know, but what if he's part of the solution?
It could be.
Could be.
I hope
we
so.
don't know.
I hope there's a reason for all this.
I do too.
But I mean, again, no limits or no topics are off limits. We're going to talk about everything. We're going to be authentic about it. And I just want to say how much I appreciate you stepping up and doing this with me, because me just sitting and talking by myself is kind of boring. But having you here and like you bring, my training. We've had different types of training, but I think it's a really great meld to have a really well-balanced global conversation. Yeah, that's something that really like makes a difference. So
thank you too, Michael.
I'm super excited about it, and I can't wait to dive into just a little bit about our stories in our next little segment.
Yes,
so
that'll be great.
Get to learn a little bit more about each other.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for being here and listening today.
Absolutely. Thank you.